Live from America's heartland, this is the Daily Truth Report with your host, Noah Christopher.
Welcome to the Daily Truth Report. We are back today with one of our favorite guests, Bo Polney, back on the show. I'm your host, Noah, and we are going to jump right into this. We have a lot of things happening. Bo has some beautiful new slides to show us. The crypto markets are on fire just when he said they would turn around, and we'll get to that in a minute. And we've got a lot of big current event updates. So, Bo, welcome to the show, and we want to jump right in. How are you?
Noah, I'm great. Thank you again for having me on your show. Appreciate it. Love speaking with you. And yes, absolutely. We are living in some really great times. And I think we're sitting at a very critical next few months here.
Well, we're going to talk cryptos a little bit later in the interview, but I just want to tell people, give them a little bit of a tease here, that one of the reasons we wanted to have you on is, and I know people who are listening to this interview probably follow it, but the crypto market has suddenly turned. It was down in the 30,000s for Bitcoin. And you sent out a newsletter. We're going to talk about that in just a minute, but you sent out a newsletter back in January saying, watch out for February 4th, because that is right when things are going to turn around. And sure enough, it was to the day. It was incredible. So we've got a slide to talk about that. And you have, if I have this right, dating back to July of 2021, there have been 12 major turns in the market. And through your newsletter, you've had 11 of them correct to within 24 hours. So very incredible. That's why we like to have you on. And I think we've got another one of those turns happening in the moment. So we're going to talk about that in a second. It's a big compliment. How does your system come up with something that can hit 11 out of 12 major turns?
The Bible, Ecclesiastes, is very clear. That which has been will be again. There is nothing new under the sun. So I have applied that to the markets, and those that get my newsletter, my cycle analysis, it's very simple. They get two charts. They get a historic pattern, and they get present day. And I overlay the two, and I show from the two patterns, where we are currently and what's to come. What's to come is the historic pattern, because that which has been will be again. And that's the essence of what cycle work is, a cycle analysis is. We are living in historic times, so historic things are coming here. So in my opinion, it's so important to be positioned for what's to come. That's the best I can describe to you is it's biblical in that life replays itself. The only thing that changes is the price of things and the events, but the pattern doesn't change. So life it's truly amazing how God has structured this world. And what I've come to realize after all these years of doing this is God is the creator of all things, and he's in control. And everything happening within the world right now is God knew it was going to happen, and he has a plan for what he's about to do. So we're about to see the hand of God this year, meaning something truly historic is coming. And that's going to directly then tie into gold and silver. And it's going to directly tie in with Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies. And it's going to directly tie in with the dollar and the world stock markets. So it's really historic what's about to happen.
Yeah, that's great. And of those 12 cycles, you called 11 of them perfectly within 24 hours, meaning it started moving in the direction you said it would right within a 24-hour cycle. And sometimes you're calling those weeks or months out. And really the one that you're not counting in there as being accurate, it really, what we're seeing now is that it was just delayed. You were expecting it in November, a turn in November and December, and we've just been delayed by about 6 weeks, but now it's starting to hit, and you've got the exact cycle. You had to adjust your cycle a little bit, and then now here we are right back on track. So maybe another 11 or 12 coming up in a row. But we'll pull some charts in a minute, Bo. I just wanted to start off by saying, for people that maybe don't know you yet, or if you've been following along a long time, we're in a fun month right now. Bo was exactly right about February 4th. And there's some really cool stuff coming up next. So, Bo, let me do this as we jump in here. I want to share my screen.
Okay.
And I want to take people. This is neat here. Here we go. Okay. So Bo, you've got a great set of slides here again. Before we even talk about them, I want to take people to the very last slide, and you've done something really cool here. You've put a QR code up on the end. We're going to have the link below the video, just like we always do. And these slides are free, just like they always are. So you can download these. You can find the link under the video. We'll probably put it in the comments section wherever you're watching this as well. I'm going to leave this up on the screen for just a little bit. There's a QR code there. You take your camera. You don't have to have a special app or anything. You take your phone, the camera app on your phone, point that right at the screen, and it's going to give you a little yellow box, and you're going to click it, and it's going to take you right to the page to download these slides. So notice that at the end, Bo. I love that. And people can get that if for some reason they're not finding the link or they don't see it there. Just go right to that. So we'll leave that up for a few minutes. Pause your screen, pause the video, take a camera shot of that, and then you can follow along with us because these slides are awesome. There is a lot in here that we've talked about before that we're not going to talk about again. If you missed any of that, especially this first part here, slides starting at slide 3. You've got some amazing stuff about the book of Daniel and how that ties into today and how all of these things happened suddenly in an instant, sometimes in a day or less, sometimes half a day. All of these stories from the book of Daniel and it's really great. We spent some time talking about this last time you were on. So I would encourage people, if you didn't see the last interview, I'll put that link down below too. Go watch that because I don't want you to miss this, but we're not going to spend time covering those today. Bo, I'm going to let you take us through what you have new in here, but I just didn't want people to miss that because that was a really fun conversation we had last time.
Oh, no, absolutely. I totally agree with you. It's important to go back to that prior interview and listen to the things we talked about Daniel because it's so relevant to today. Because again, everything replays itself, just the people and the characters change, but the timelines, the cycles do not. So it's really incredible how this is all laid out right now. So with the presentation itself, hopefully the viewers follow your instructions for scanning that, for doing the scan. If we start on page 1, so today is February 8th, and we're not far from May. So we got most of February yet, we got March, we got April, and then we head into May. So there's really about 3.5 to 4 months. Biblically, when you study Exodus, there is a point in time when Egypt finally releases Israel. But then Pharaoh changes his mind and goes ahead and chases Israel to the Red Sea. Mm-hmm. And only at that final moment in time, God opens the sea. He had the plan. Israel crosses, and then Pharaoh gets suckered into the Red Sea. God knew he would do it. He closed the sea on Pharaoh and his army, and they were finished. We are heading into a time like this. So all these people that are running the world, doing everything they're doing, they are about to experience the hand of God. And then the sea is going to close on their heads, just like Pharaoh. If we can start at page 10.
Hey, and Bo, before we do that, just real quick, I love this slide and I love what you put on there. It's not the end, it's their end. That's awesome. But it just reminds me as you're telling that story, every time we do an interview or even some of the articles that we post on our site, you look at some of the comments. I know people are getting, they feel like the delay's been too long. They're getting tired. They're waiting for 45 to come back and they're getting weary. But when I listened to you telling that story about Israel being trapped in Egypt, how much did they go through and they thought, well, this has to be, finally, this is it. How many plagues were there? 10? And, you think maybe after the 4th one or the 5th one, this would be it. And it wasn't it every time. And they just kept waiting. And then the 7th and the 8th, and then the 10th plague. And then even as they leave, they think, well, now he's let us go. Now we've gotten away. And then even after that, he chases after him with chariots. So it just kind of feels like maybe we're in that chasing after with chariots moment where you think you've accomplished it, and then you're not quite there. But the point is, it is coming. There is no doubt about that.
Yeah, but to add to what you're saying, think about what happened, right? Not only was everything you said true, but then what did Israel do? They actually were going against Moses. He gets them to the Red Sea. Moses, why have you brought us here to die? right?
Right.
And then Moses says, stand still and watch the salvation of the Lord, for he will work for you today. Now, that phrase directly relates to what is written in Isaiah 61, the year of the Lord's favor and the day of his vengeance. So this is so important to understand. As much as Israel believed what Moses was doing, and then much as they believed in God, they were still on the fence. You know how after all the plagues they've seen, and they literally are released from bondage, they still turn on Moses and God. Why have you brought us here to die? You know, we've been waiting and waiting, and it's like, it's crazy. And all we can do is wait, because we're waiting for what, Noah? The day of vengeance.
That's right.
It's not a month, a year, a day of vengeance that changes everything that we know. Now, understand, when that day arrives, please understand, Noah, and particularly the viewers, when that day arrives, you will know, because the earth will tremble. And I'm not saying a little volcano, I'm talking the earth will tremble. This is going to be a very powerful movement of God that's about to happen and affect the earth. And then following that is when everything starts to fall apart on them. Jesus walks into the temple and he overturns the table on the money changers.
Right.
That was a moment in time. In our prior interview, we gave numerous examples of Daniel in a moment of time, in 1 hour or a few hours or in a day, right? In a very short window of time, no more than a day, the table is completely overturned, all in God's favor. So as much as we're waiting and feel like, well, it was supposed to happen in November, nothing's changed from what we were talking about last year, Noah. We've given the protractor analogy, and we're heading into May, period. And so we're going to talk about that in the presentation today, but it's so critical. Like on page 10, you're looking at the money changers, that's how they've done it all. God's going to overturn the tables on them. Page 11, this is the year of the Lord's favor, the day of his vengeance. Page 12 is very clear. We've talked about this, how the May 26th of last year was the center of end times. That was when there was the Mayflower moon, as discussed by Hank Kuhneman. Mayflower, the 400 years. It's been 400 years since the Mayflower. We have a Mayflower moon on May 26th. It's not a coincidence. Then we get into the slide that we've been tracking all of this, is page 13. This is the very important page, because none of this has changed yet. Everything we're looking here is on target for what's expected here as we progress into May. Remember this slide, we've talked about it. May 26th on the right side of the page in blue was the center of end times. We take it up, we've spoken about the Nixon moment. That was August 15th. That was 50 years to the precise day that Nixon detached any relationship there was between the dollar and gold. So we've been on a strict fiat type currency ever since August 15th of 71. So there's been zero correlation between gold and paper money. None, okay? And then we get into a very important time point. And we talked about this like in July, I think it was. There's supposed to be something big that transpires on the 24th, because that was tipping point. If you can understand on a protractor, every degree is a day. And what happened? Noah, on that exact day, Russia signs a military agreement with Saudi Arabia. Why would they do that? Saudi Arabia already had a military agreement with the United States, but instead they signed a new agreement now with Russia. Why? Unless the one with the United States they've walked away from. Why would they do that? Well, wasn't it about a week before that, the fall of Kabul? The precise day. So, wouldn't you be nervous if your neighbor just 1,000 miles away, they just walked away from? So you have to understand that was a critical moment in our history, August 24th.
And Bo, I've been hearing a lot of people just suddenly now really starting to talk about that and starting to focus on it. You brought, obviously it was in the news, people knew about it, but no one really paid it any attention. You were the first on our show to really focus on that back on August 24th when you said watch for this date, and then it happened and you said this is way bigger than most people realize. And now 6 months later, people are really starting to cover that story, and it's like they're finally connecting the dots. But you've been on this for a long time.
I don't know what to say except I do the math and I get dates. And so from that time point, just a few days, a week or so later, we get into the start of the new year. Okay, so God's new year, this is important to understand. God's new year starts on Rosh Hashanah. This past Rosh Hashanah was September 6th of 2021. Now, on that precise day, that was, last year I was talking about how Rosh Hashanah was going to be important, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg died on that precise day. So you recall that conversation, okay?
Yes, I do.
And so this Rosh Hashanah, something different happens. This Rosh Hashanah, we have the China Evergrande bond event, which is massively larger. It's $300 billion than what even happened to the Lehman Brothers. Okay, so huge event transpires exactly on Rosh Hashanah. Now, this is going to set the stage for what is coming this year. Now, if we go back to August 24th, because this is important, Noah, what is 180 degrees exactly opposite August 24th of last year? It is this February 20th. So it's 2/20/22. So
that's your red arrow
yes,
at the bottom.
Red arrow at the very bottom of the screen. It's February 20th of 2022. So it's 2/2/22.
And that's about 12 days away.
We are that close. So I'm telling you, that's going to be an important day. I don't know what's going to happen, but mathematically, it's an important day because it's 180 degrees from August 24th. We can step back and we can say, well, November 22nd was 180 degrees from May 26th. So something could have happened there. All that I know that I was able to find was if you scroll to page 16, that was the exact day that they started giving the shots to all of the children 5 through 11 in Israel. And you remember, so the November 23rd Israel time is November 22nd US time. So on that precise day, that's how it started. So it's very interesting to see how this is all playing out. So all I can tell you is that evil's still in control. But we talked in our last interview, Noah, what happens when winter begins. Each day starts getting longer, right? And what does light do to darkness? It exposes the darkness, or the darkness can no longer hide. So the secrets can no longer be hidden. Are you with me?
Absolutely.
All right. So we are now, every day is getting brighter. Now, watch this math. So from May 26th of last year, the center of end times, we add 300 days precisely, not almost precisely, we get March 22nd, 2022. And for the European numbering of that, that's actually 22/3/22. It's 2/2/3/22. So they're mirror images of one another, with 3 being the middle. All I know is that when I look at that math and the numbers, it's really concerning, because what I show on the next page at page 14.
3/2/2.
3/2/2. So though I'm not making this stuff up. You can type in Yale University 3/2/2 skull and bones, and this is what comes up. Okay. Now the interesting thing was they actually made a movie called Olympus Has Fallen. It came out in 2013. Now check this out, Noah. Guess what date it was released in the United States?
3/22.
3/22. That was of no coincidence. So all I'm saying is that 3/22, March 22nd, is a very important number for them, not for God, okay? For them. Very important to distinguish. This is not a biblical time point. This is their time point. Are you with me?
I'm with you, and there seems to be something with these people. You know, I don't like calling them the elites because they're not elite, but there seems to be something with these people where they have to announce their plans ahead of time, and we see it over and over and over. So, boy, for them to release that movie on 3/22 with the White House falling, that is very troubling.
Well, and then you go back to the math, that I've done in the past. Nine's very powerful. It's a point of completion. Okay. Well, this is 9 years since that time point.
Wow.
So that's another crazy part of the math. So all I know is March is coming and is not far away, and they have an important number that they like to follow. So that's all I can say. We sit and we watch, but the hand of God is in control. Anything that we're seeing here on page 14 is their plan, not of God. Now, you have to look at this page also on 14. It says Olympus has fallen. Why would they use the word Olympus? Let's go to page 15. Page 15, we've talked about this. This is not new. This is in prior presentations, okay? We've talked about this before, Noah. Who is Zeus? He's Satan. Greek mythology, there is no mythology, it's history. So Greek mythology is in fact history. There's things that have happened, okay? It's written in the Bible, Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. Principalities are governments, okay? Against the rulers of darkness in high places. So all I can say is, do we see something historic, something big? The clash of the titans. What is it? Zeus's nuclear option to teach unruly and disrespectful humans a lesson they will never forget. See what's going on in Canada? Are they about to teach a lesson to somebody? I don't know. But all I know is that God wins, and he's got a bigger plan of whatever their plans are.
And that's why we love having you on the show, Bo. That is always the message you bring us back to, and I love that ultimately we know the end of the story. And I also love how your diligence in this. I mean, you've been at this for a long time. You're not giving up. The whole conversation earlier, we're so close to the very end. We don't want to be the people that give up in the last moment. So hang in there. The good wins in the end, and we are very close. I love that slide. That where is it? I want to go back to it. This one right here, the Red Sea moment. That is coming. It is so close. A suddenly one day moment, and we're hanging in there until the end. And that's why we love having you on the show, because that's what you do too, and we appreciate you for that.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. But I'm nothing more than a messenger, no better than anybody else. But I'm trying to push out a message of truth to the world. I take what I get. I take what other prophets get. I put the pieces together. That is what I do. And when you start to study what I've put together here, this free presentation that I do for the world, it's very diligently put together with most everything is referenced either from the Bible or that of a prophet. So all I know is that there's extreme accuracy in what I have here. That's all I can say. If we go back to page 13, I just want to, because we're not finished, right? We're heading into May. So all I know is that we're heading into May, and May's 360 degrees or 360 days. So it's the end of the cycle that started last May 26th. So that cycle ends that we're looking at there, May 21st, 2022. So this May is the end of the cycle. Now, I want to expand on this because I got a lot of new revelation, and I want to talk about why May is so important. I'm going to skip through the next few pages here, but basically your viewers can review page 17, 18, and 19. That talks about the Jubilee and the wealth transfer. So we're at a point now where when God intervenes, just to give you a quick synopsis, we're in the 50-year Jubilee cycle. This is the year of the Lord's favor, page 17. Page 18 basically says we're going to step into a kingdom economy. A kingdom economy is an economy backed by God's money, gold and silver. So we return to the gold standard in some way, shape, or form. But gold is going to be the new money system that we're coming into. Pastor and a good friend of mine, very, very, very sweet, kind man, Manuel Johnson, had a very specific prophecy about what was coming. And if you can click on the videos, you can listen to that on page 20, but it's very specific. He finishes with, your life will be a prize to you. So what's coming is a massive prize. How exciting is this? Now, page 21 is going to give a very clear explanation as to why we're waiting so long. Okay, so this is what I got when I was actually with Pastor Manuel at a very big conference, and there's like 3-4 prophets there. Donna Wrigley was there. I felt the Holy Spirit all over me. All I got from him was you need to look at childbirth to see the plan. So then I pulled up childbirth and let's run it. Okay, so our new year starts January 1. God could care less about that. When's God's new year, right? God's new year's Rosh Hashanah. The last Rosh Hashanah was September 6th of 2021. That was a start. So that was month 1. If you do the math, how long is childbirth, right? Children are born in the 9th month. No one knows the day or the hour. They might have a delivery date, but rarely is a child ever born on the delivery date. Are you with me, Noah?
Oh, yes, I am.
Okay, so that's why God's, Matthew stated 3 times, no one knows the day or the hour. It's really important because even a delivery date, no one knows the day or the hour. They might have a date based on conception, but the child never delivers on that day. Rarely, it's going to be a window of time either before or after. My point being is the 9th month starts May 5th and ends June 4th. So that perfectly lines up with our 360-degree clock that we had on page 13, right?
Yeah, it does.
Falls right in the middle of that. Let's go to page 22. I've covered this before. This is so powerful. This is vortex-based math. This is what Tesla used to create free energy, which they basically hid from humanity because heaven forbid someone gets something for free. But Tesla basically discovered, he created what's called a Tesla coil using the numbers 3, 6, and 9. What are those numbers? They are not physical numbers, but they govern the physical world on a quantum level. And the top of the food chain of all the numbers, even 3, 6, and 9, the top is in the completion, and the final point is number 9. And so you can look at the math that I've laid out here. There's some video links you can click, but the point being is 9 is the completionary number. Well, if we start at Rosh Hashanah, which would be September, November would be the 3rd month. What happened on the 3rd month? Well, CNN started to fall. Okay. Now we're in February, 6th month, right? So we're in 6. And then we get March is 7, April is 8, and May is 9. So all of this is patterning out perfect for completion at 9, completion in May. Why would May be powerful? You want to know?
I do.
Ecclesiastes, that which has been will be again. Okay, so what happened thousands of years ago was called the Exodus, because Israel left Egypt, Pharaoh, and that wasn't an area of the world. So that was the Exodus. Now we got the entire globe, the entire world, the entire great earth. This is going to be the great Exodus, the whole world. So go to page 23. Let's do the math. So we read Exodus 14, and it's pretty clear the timelines are written. Okay, so this year Passover ends on April 23rd. We know that Pharaoh releases because on that night the angel of death showed up. The angel of death showed up. Are you with me? So April 23rd, 2022, does the angel of death show up? Okay, I don't know, but it's an important time point. The next day is the 24th, is when Israel is finally released by Pharaoh. It takes them 20 days to get to the Red Sea. So they don't get to the Red Sea until May 14th of 2022. 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the end and the beginning of God's new kingdom on earth, May 14th, 2022. Now, does anything happen on that date? I don't know. We are all going to find out. Just like I said earlier, no one knows the day or the hour. All I know is that May 14th calculates out to be historic. It calculates out to be the day that the Red Sea closes on Pharaoh. It's
Wow.
the end. It's the end of them. So I don't know what to more say except I did the math for the world.
Well, and you've even got one other piece down here.
Well,
Walk us through
yes,
this
and
one.
then this blew me away when I discovered this, and I showed you this earlier, Noah, because this is crazy. There's no possible way that this could happen by coincidence. Because first off, there's no coincidences in the Torah. It's a non-kosher word, but the math here is beyond crazy. So pay attention to the math calculations that I'm showing you. So Trump is born, it's just because Trump rotates around the number 7. So he was born on June 14th, 1946. 700 days to the exact day, drop to 2 zeros, but it's a 7. You get May 14th, 1948, and Israel is declared a state. Well, okay, that's great. But now this is wild. So from when Israel is declared and proclaimed a state on May 14th of 1948, Noah, 888 months to the exact day is May 14th, 2022.
Yeah, that is amazing.
I don't know what to say except it's truly mind-boggling that that math even occurred. How does that happen? I don't know.
And the significance of the 8s. What
Okay,
does that
the
mean?
8s. So now I didn't make this up. Please get on your Google, go check it out. There's a couple links there you can go look at. It sits in the red section there. It says the number 8 is a number of Jesus. This is from the Bible, okay? This is in the Bible. The number 8 is a number of Jesus, whose name in Greek adds up to 888. It's the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. It's a new beginning.
Wow. Wow. So well, there you have it, folks. That's we're in the month of February already. February 20th is that first date Bo's looking at. It's 12 days away. Then we've got March, April, and it looks like absolute fireworks all over the month of May, with May 14th being something to really watch.
And even then you also have April 23rd, the angel of death time point.
Right.
So does something happen there? We shall see.
Well, Bo, we're going to try and wrap this up here. We always love having you on, and we just go from one thing to another. But I want to spend a few minutes on cryptocurrencies because last time we had you on, you said it was, we were getting ready for that turning point. You said watch February 4th, and boy, you hit it just perfectly. I want to talk about that for a second. And I think you have in here, you can tell me what slide. I think you have a sneak peek from your newsletter that we're going to show people. Yeah, so this is a snapshot of your report from January 24th. So that was right after we talked last time. And you gave us a little tease during the show that February was going to have some exciting things. And then in your report, and I get these every time you release them, I'm one of your subscribers, and I love getting them. And so I can verify that I read this when it came out. And by the way, if you sign up for Bo's newsletter, all of the old reports are on there. So you don't have to take my word for it or take Bo's word for it. You can go in and read. As soon as you sign up, you can go read all the historical ones and go back and track through all 11 to 12 of those turns and see how Bo nailed those. But you'll see this one in there, and he's blacked out a little bit of it because that's still to come, and that's still for his subscribers. We want to be fair to those people. But I want to just read this, and then Bo, I'll let you talk about it. But this was January 24th, and back then Bitcoin was on a trend down. It had been up in the 60s, and it was down in the 50s and 40s, and then even got down into the 30,000s. And here's what you wrote: detailed Bitcoin update. This morning, so that's January 24th, this morning completes the final drop or washout, and it ends the mini bear that began back in November of 2021. Then you say the bull market resumes today, 124, into tomorrow, with the first strong vertical spike beginning on or about February 4th or 5th. And I'll tell you what, Bo, I watched that, and sure enough, as soon as we hit February 4th, and this is all historic, you can go back and look at the charts, and I think we've got a chart down here, but it started moving on February 4th. And I think it was right before I was going to bed, and I looked at the prices one more time, and they were moving. And so you just nailed that one. And then this is the part you've blacked out because it's only for subscribers, but it says historic vertical price explosions for Bitcoin and the alternate coins then begin after that. And you've blacked out the exact date, but we're after that date right now. Today's February 8th, and there is some really exciting stuff happening. Here's that chart. I'll let you walk us through this chart down here. You can tell us kind of that shows what you were writing about up above. Go ahead and tell us what we're looking at there.
Right. So what you're looking at on page 56 is actually what the slide presentation that people get within our newsletter. But as I said, our newsletter is very simple. The chart at the very top is present day. The chart at the bottom is the historic cycle.
Mm.
So what it's showing is that points A, B, C, D, and E in red are complete. And you can actually see, Noah, it's to the day.
And that's what, and if we scroll back up, that's what you said. You said the bull market resumes today, 124. And
right,
there's
and that's
124. That's E right there. Look at that, the very bottom.
Yeah, it's to the exact day. And so we knew that. Why? Because history plays itself. So all we knew was that the pattern was saying the private historic cycle was telling us point E was the 24th. And you can see that on the charts. If you can go look at price of Bitcoin, it went lower on the 24th, and then it came back up. And then that started the bull market. However, it's been hidden. So it's just been going sideways. It had a little pullback. We had 0.1 even. We even knew 0.1, and then turned down. It came back into 0.2, and that was February 3rd. We knew that was going to happen. And then February 4th into February 5th, boom, straight vertical. On the 4th, it jumped exactly as expected. And so the bull market has resumed. So 0.1 and 0.2 are now complete. And so what's happening is now we're heading up. Bitcoin's heading up. An explosion's coming. We have the explosion time point, just like we have these time points. There's a 0.3, there's a 0.4, and then there's a 0.5. 0.5 you got to be very careful of, because 0.5 is going to be a very powerful explosion that's followed by a very bad crash. Okay, so getting into very hectic times here because we're heading into an explosion and then a big crash. You know, we do have those. There is cycle time points. So when the top comes in, when the crash comes in, all of that's, you know, for subscribers. But the point being is that Bitcoin is predictable. Okay, we've been doing these patterns for a long time. All of last year, we had a huge success rate. Since July, as in one example, we had 11 of 12 turns. We had the high for November. We were expecting Bitcoin, subscribers know this, we were expecting Bitcoin to turn up in the first week of December. Instead, the cycle, because remember, we're an expanding universe. So the cycle, rather than turning up the first to second week of December as we expected, it continued to go downwards. And so in an expanding universe, a cycle, if it's going to add time, it's going to add at the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new. And so it added 6 weeks into the pattern from December into January, and then the pattern restarted itself on precisely the 24th of January. But we knew that was point E. And so now the bull market has resumed, and very exciting times are coming, Noah.
Yeah, I'm so glad you put these two slides in your show, because, you know, I never want to give away too much information because I want to respect your paid subscribers, but it's fun to show when you hit something so perfectly to the dates like January 24th and then all the way out to February 4th and 5th. And then to see it visually, because I'm kind of a visual learner, to see that is really neat to see that. So anyway, so now let's talk about what's coming. So I know you can't give too much detail, but we think some really exciting moves are coming. You said probably a really big move to the upside, followed by a big down spikes. And I always love saying this first because I've heard you say it so many times that if you want to learn more, that's great. We've got an opportunity for you right here with your newsletter subscription. But if you're not a trader, or if you're just happy buying and holding, that's fine too. So I love how you don't ever pressure anybody to get this. But if people are excited and want to read it, and I really enjoy it, here's your slide. Go to slide 108, and you can get Bo's exclusive newsletter. He's going to give it to you for 50% off. He's got a code on there. You go to the link, it's gold2020forecast.com, and you go to that link. You're going to put in the code WLT49. It's going to cut your price in half, give you a great trial period there. And like I said, once you get in there, you can go in and read all the historical reports and just see how they've turned out, because they've been pretty incredible. So I would encourage you, if you're into that, great. If you're not, then just download the free slides and enjoy Bo's presentation, because it's really got some great stuff in here. Bo, I was wondering if you could, I don't want to put you on the spot, but one of the most exciting coins actually the past couple of days has been XRP. And I know that's a lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it, but it is in your chart there. It is one of the coins that you cover. You've got it right in the center of your screen. That thing went up like 25% in the last day. Again, I don't want to give away what you say in the report, but any sneak peeks for the XRP army out there? Anything you want to say about future of XRP? Should they buy it, sell it? Anything you can give those people, because they're pretty excited right now.
XRP is considered an alternate coin relative to Bitcoin, and we also cover a lot of other coins within our report. I think we covered 12 coins in the report. XRP is one of the coins I have. I have a small position of it. Why? Because it's a tradable coin. It's going to spike and it's going to explode. After the spike and the explosion, it's going to come back down again too. So you got to be able to manage that. Nothing negative about XRP. It's going to do very well. It's going to jump, and so are the other coins. See, what you have to understand is, when Bitcoin was going down, Noah, this happened. All the other altcoins went down. They all go together. So Bitcoin's like the granddaddy that leads the train, and whatever the Bitcoin does, all the other coins do. So now all the other coins are starting to gain strength. Why? Because Bitcoin's gaining strength. What's exciting is not only the XRP, but the other coins. There's other coins you cover in the report. And some are going to drop one, probably 2 zeros. So we have 1 or 2 coins in my report that are expected to do this. It's really exciting because what's coming is a very powerful move for Bitcoin. But that's not the exciting part. As Bitcoin explodes, the alternate coins are going to multiply what Bitcoin does. So they're going to multiply the explosion factor of Bitcoin to the upside. So very exciting times coming for the alternate coins. So we've had altcoin season coming, and it's going to be awesome because Bitcoin has embarked on a bull market, which means the altcoins are very soon to outperform any moves Bitcoin's going to do.
Yeah, I love the sound of altcoin season coming soon. That's great.
We've talked about this before, page 54. See, Bitcoin is going to be the new digital money, right? So that's the new money system that people will be using digitally. And gold and silver are going to be the real money going into the future, because that is a true and the only true representation of wealth, because it has no counterparty risk, versus blockchain ultimately is still determined and dependent on the internet. So, but for years forward, there's still a very good opportunity here for Bitcoin, because it's going to move up and the wealth transfer is coming. And let me tell you, a part of the wealth transfer, it's crystal clear. It's going to be gold, particularly silver, and cryptocurrencies. Those 3 items are going to be huge in the future and very near future here, particularly what we've been talking about in terms of the time window, just because of the amount of money that has been created. When I mean money, I mean fiat money that's been created in the world. That is going to find its way into cryptocurrencies. Now, why did Bitcoin jump and turn vertical on February 4th? Noah, do you know why it did that February 4th?
No.
Because the day before, Facebook lost $250 billion.
Yes.
So that was the triggering event for Bitcoin to turn.
Wow.
because
And
people are starting to get a little bit nervous that a company as large as Facebook could in 1 hour lose $250 billion.
and you've got on your screen here, we're looking at slide 54, $100,000 Bitcoin is still incoming.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not even worried about that. It's coming. It's not, but remember,
Well,
because we had the time expansion, so it just pushed it forward. Time expanded. So if people are looking for the time windows that are predictable, okay, we offer those. We have those in our Bitcoin index. You know, the point being is cryptocurrencies, gold, silver, all going up. If you want patterns and cycles, you can get our subscription. You can use that code and it gives you 50% off. Test it out for 2 weeks. The point being is that our world's about to change. Have you prepared? Do you have gold and silver? Do you know who Jesus Christ is? You know, all of these things are so important because God the Father is in complete control of what's about to happen. But what's coming is the hand of God. And what I mean by that is God is going to shake the earth. And as stated by a good friend of mine, Lois Vogel Sharp, her words are very clear. The land will rumble. And I mean, the world will rumble and evil will crumble. That, Noah, is what's coming this year, 2022.
yeah.
Now and into May. So somewhere in that time window, and I would suspect highly likely April into May, we're going to see something truly biblical.
Bo, before you go, real quick, I want to go back to one thing you just said because I don't want to lose sight of it. You were talking about some of the coins you cover, and you were talking about some of them, and people may not have understood what you said, but you said some of them might drop a couple zeros. And so what you're talking about is there are a couple coins that are actually not shown on this page. You've started covering them recently, I noticed in the report, so they're not on there. They're not on the graphic, but they're in your report. And if you feel like you missed the boat on Bitcoin, you know, it's nice to buy it at 44,000 and go up to 100,000. It's a great gain, but it's not you know, multiple magnitudes or multiplication factors. But some of these, if you feel like you missed that, some of these that you cover are still trading at 5 cents, 10 cents, and then some of them are 0.000.
Actually, yeah. So just to clarify what I was saying, so you're glad you brought that up. When it drops 2 zeros, so when it drops 1 0, that's a 10x move. So
Yeah.
whatever, so it multiply it by 10. Now, if it drops 2 zeros, that's a 100x move, 100-time move. So if you bought something for $1, it becomes worth $100. So that would be called that's a 100x move. So that's kind of what it means by dropping zeros.
I didn't want people to miss that because that is really exciting. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but you look at the cycles and you're saying, hey, there's a high probability of these cycles playing out. And if they do, then you might drop a couple zeros, and that is a big, big deal. So I want to tell people it's not on the screen right there, but if you want to get the report, it is covered in the report. I'm glad you're covering that one. It's a fun one to cover. And then I got to ask you one last question for the XRP army out there. XRP all-time high price, 384, I believe, set back in 2017. Do your cycles show that we get a new all-time high in the future, or is that it?
Oh, no, everything's going to make new all-time highs, including Ripple.
All right, there you go. You heard that. You heard a couple other really exciting ones, and there's much more in the report if you want to see it. If you don't, I want to take you down one last time before we let Bo go. We would take you down to this last page. Get that QR code, scan your phone right at it, take a picture of it, and it's gonna give you these slides for free. You can also look underneath the video. I'm gonna put the link to both slides under the video. I'm gonna put the link to our last interview because I really want you to see all the stuff we talked about Daniel and things happening suddenly in a day. That's in there, and we cover those slides. So I want you to hear Bo talking about those. And Bo, I'm gonna shut this down now. People, pause the presentation, take a photo of that QR code, and I'm going to stop sharing. I want to bring you back on here, Bo, so we can see you better. I always love to let you have the last word and leave people with a word of hope or a word of encouragement. So turn it over to you. Go ahead and wrap it up and tell everybody what's the main takeaway that they should wrap up with tonight.
So again, thank you for having me here. All I can finish with is this. The year 22 will go down in history So at the end of the year, we're going to look back at this year. But this year, 2022, will go back in history as the great. It'll be the great exposure, the great removal, the great fall, the great judgment, the great overturning, the great death, the great exodus, the great birth, and the great wealth transfer. So in closing, God is in complete control. He knew what they were going to do. So fear not, because fear is of the devil. Fear not. God the Father and his Son, Jesus Christ, are in complete control. When the world shakes and rumbles, fall to your knees and thank God for saving America. And Trump follows.
That's why we have Bo on. What a wonderful message. Love to hear that. Love you putting that out there, Bo. Thank you so much. We'll have you back on soon. We're gonna watch for some of these dates, and we'll have you back on, and we'll look forward to it.
Noah, thank you again. God bless you and your family.